How do you think we should start this?
What are you doing?
I'm doing our intro video. Doing our intro video. Hello, world. Let's start off with introductions. My name is Doug. I'm a chaotic neutral, fintech professional, gamer, and dad with a proclivity for starting DIY projects that strangely stall out at about 80% complete. My wife Rachel is a high achiever, lawful good with a capital lawful. And when I say high achiever, I mean like she was a former spelling bee champion high achiever. She's turned mom of 3 with an ADD husband. She's a fitness fanatic who finds comfort in the finished product. And that last bit, that's what makes us a good team. You know, I dream up the big idea. I come up with sometimes a realistic or somewhat realistic plan of how to get there. And then Rachel holds us to it, ensuring that we get to the finished product. And I love that about her. She's also my best friend. Anywho. Are you done? All that's interesting, but it's not YouTube channel worthy, right? It's more like boring dinner party chit chat crap. So let's get into the real kind of reason for the story. But first, a message, since this is YouTube, a message from our sponsors. Rachel and I love DIY projects, whether it's flipping houses or working on cars or, doing yard work and planning out new landscaping. Whatever it is, we love working together and we love the problems and challenges that those projects bring. But we had to take a break while we were starting our family because, allegedly women can't work during pregnancy, whatever. But now that we're done with that, now that we've kind of moved through the multiple years of pregnancy, we got a chance to get back to it, and we started getting that itch. A couple of years after our youngest was born, we started getting that itch for what was going to be our next big adventure. After an emotional family event, my wife and I made the decision that we wanted to raise our family in a more rural and community-driven environment. To find a piece of property that could double not only as our homestead, but somewhere we could build an Airbnb type or short-term rental type of business, and give potential guests the exposure to that rural lifestyle without having to make a significant change to their life or take on the tremendous financial gamble or bet that that type of change would result in. And with that decision, we had accepted our new quest. Over the next 2 years, we spent our weeknights researching properties and different areas across Texas. And then on the weekends, we would load up our kids and drive oftentimes hours away to see like 3 or 4 or as many as we could or as many as our kids would allow us to without losing our minds being locked in the car for that long. We'd see as many properties as we could before driving back home. And then the next week, we'd start it all over again. At nights, researching areas, scheduling times, driving hours away, and doing that. During that time, we drove thousands of miles and looked at hundreds of properties all across the state of Texas. Then, after about 18 months of looking, I found it. 10 acres outside of Austin, great foot traffic for potential guests into the Airbnb. It already had a good sized house for our family. The property that was perfect for the Airbnb plan. It actually had a creek that ran through, that kind of cut the property in half anytime it rained. It was a big investment, but it checked all of our boxes. There was one small catch, and that's the property was in a century floodplain. For those who don't know, a century floodplain means there's a 1% chance that the property will flood to a certain point every year. Only a 1% chance. And I thought in drought-riddled Texas, that's a low-level threat. But because it was such a large investment and we were looking to kind of make this a long-term play, I mean, it's an investment, it's a long-term play, I decided to meet with the county, with a county official, just to kind of review our plan and get their feedback. I scheduled time with one official. 8 showed up to the call. As the meeting wore on, it became more and more apparent that while the officials believed that the kind of my overall vision was, quote, neat, they kept adding on additional layers and requirements that effectively would have tripled the cost of development for that piece of property in that area. And that just wasn't going to work. We were gutted. For the first time, we started questioning whether or not we could actually do this. We started really reconsidering whether or not this was the best option for us financially, for our family long term. Maybe this was just too hard. Maybe the cookie cutter life in suburbia USA was the right call for us. Maybe the easy life was better. And so we took a break from searching. Well, I took a break. Rachel didn't. While reminiscing about how simple her life was when she was a student at Texas A&M University, Rachel started looking for properties in and around the College Station area. She found that our dollar could go a lot further. Instead of just buying 10 acres, we could buy 20 or more acres. And soon she had 3 properties picked out, and we scheduled with a local realtor and again packed our kids up and drove hours away from home. About 90 minutes later, we pull up to the first property. And almost immediately we start feeling the butterflies, the nervous excitement of what this possibility could be. And it was because that first property was so special. It had big trees for shade, dense underbrush for privacy, a big open space with great views, and an existing pond with dense wildlife. Rachel and I looked at each other and we knew this is the property that would become Falcon Reserve. But this video isn't the complete story. It's just the introduction. It's to help you understand who we are. One question still remains: why? Why are we doing this? Why put it all on YouTube? Why put it all on social media? It's because Rachel and I want to build a community both physically and virtually. We want to expose our kids to multiple cultures and many different lifestyles out there. We also want to give people an escape from their hamster wheel of a day-to-day life by either watching these silly videos or by coming out to the property and getting to connect with it firsthand. Look, we're doing this as our call out to the universe. For anyone else who feels overwhelmed by life and who's looking for a break or an escape, we hear you. We were you. Come along with us. I've got some crazy ideas, and if you've got some ideas out there, I'd love to see them below. So for now, subscribe or follow us on Instagram. This journey's just beginning.
So we are installing the Starlink Duggar is so far up there that it can't even hardly get him.
You got too much cord. Didn't measure it properly. Get out of here, wasp. Woo! Sketchy. Disconnecting the tether and reconnecting the tether is always a little sketchy.
Oop, there's a tree in your way.
Now look how much it moved.
Hang on.
That's a lot of movement, huh?
Yes.
Do you see how much it moves? Am I staying in frame?
Yeah, it's really sketchy. Okay,